When you start to do things differently, start to improve yourself and your life, your brain will try to fight you. It will pull out all the tricks in the book, make you feel sad, angry, like life isn't fair, make you jealous of others, call you every negative name in the book, and if it can, turn you into a cynical, internet-dwelling shut-in. But the key is to realize that these thoughts aren't you. They're remnants of our evolutionary human experience. You see, our brains weren't designed for going above and beyond to put ourselves out into the world and pursue happiness. They were designed to get our needs met. And if you're watching this, you probably have that covered. A roof over your head, food on the table, clean water to drink, and clothes to wear. Maybe reproduction is missing from the list, but your brain can use websites for that, and subconsciously not really know the difference. Our minds also evolved to keep us from rocking the boat, because doing so historically could have gotten you publicly shamed, made an example of, or even exiled from the tribe. And no tribe meant you were prime pickings for whatever was out in the wild. Animals, the elements, other tribes, even some plants want to unalive you. This is why we always hear that public speaking is most people's biggest fear, followed by a fear of death. Because it isn't actually about public speaking, but rather public embarrassment. Simply because, for countless generations, making a fool of yourself in front of others, at the very best, ran the chance of making you the village idiot who gets made fun of for the rest of their life, and at the worst, led to your gruesome disembowelment or slow starvation. Let's say, for example, you try to chat up that girl you're crushing on in the tribe, and she turns you down. If she talks badly about you to even one person, that single rumor could give you the reputation of a creep, leaving you undateable and forever alone. So it's no wonder in the recent edition of modernity, coupled with a school system that jams a bunch of people at the most socially vulnerable time in their lives into one confined space, that we're still terrified of judgment. But the fact is, 90% of that judgment isn't a problem anymore, especially after high school, because you aren't stuck in your town. The city you were born in has the population of an ancient civilization just within its borders, and we have vehicles and digital tools that allow us to spend time with people hundreds of miles apart. And so if you don't fit in one place or group, you can simply find one that fits you better. When you step out of your comfort zone, step out of line with what your mind and body have become accustomed to, they will rebel. The mind especially, because it doesn't care that your current life path is going to end in you being unhealthy, depressed and alone, stuck in a dead-end job with no friends or hobbies. It only cares that things are made as easy as possible in the immediate moment to conserve energy and keep you out of harm's way. In the risk to reward calculation, something new isn't worth doing when all your core needs are essentially met. This is why staying disciplined and improving your life feels so hard. This is why you go to bed with intense motivation for the next day, and then wake up exhausted. And understanding this is what's missing from most self-help advice we see today. But here's the good news. This concern with others is what makes you a decent person as well. Because if we all just ran around not giving a fuck about anyone but ourselves, we would all be versions of that kid on the playground who refuses to share and steals other kids' toys. This concern about others is what creates empathy, and allows us to have deep, caring connections with people. It's what allows us to fight for the things we believe in to create a better world, even if we may not see the benefit of doing so in our lifetime. This fear also tends to mark the things which will bring the most benefit to our lives. Starting that YouTube channel, applying for that job, chatting up that cute stranger. And this anxiety originates out of how important these things are to us, because we're afraid to fail at them. So our don't rock the boat brains prefer instead to live in a fantasy of what ifs, because it's easier and more predictable to do so. We may not know what would happen if we faced our fear and did the thing, but we most certainly know what will happen if we don't. We will stay right where we are, safe and away from the judgment and opinions of others, and actively moving backwards in our life as time continues forward. So when your mind starts to fight you, when you wake up pissed off that everyone else seems to have it all figured out, when your mind calls you lazy and tries to tell you there's no point in trying to be better because you'll just fail and embarrass yourself, piling on evidence for why you shouldn't even put in the effort. Remember, it's not that you're broken or worse at life than others. These thoughts are not you. They're a defense mechanism built to be difficult to overcome. Part of human evolution that kept your ancestors alive, just trying to protect you from being kidnapped by a neighboring tribe or targeted by those around you. But now you have the chance to break that cycle and get more out of life than they were ever able to. Because you're not going to be eaten by a wild animal if someone rejects you. So don't look at it as a problem in need of fixing. Look at it as a challenge to be overcome, a guiding point for the direction you should go, and show your mind that no matter what it throws at you, you won't back down.